Good evening, everyone. You're welcome to the 6 p.m. primetime newscast on Equinoxe television. In our top stories, prominent African tech guru Rebecca Enonchong, who had spent 3 nights behind bars at the Douala Gendarmerie Legion, has finally regained her freedom. She was freed today, and on her Twitter handle, she notes that she has regained her freedom and all charges levied against her dropped. She is thanking all those who have supported her to ensure her release. We also tell you in this edition of the newscast how a man called Onana Vitalis has killed his 42-year-old nephew in a locality known as Elekiem, that's in the Lekki division of the central region of the country, with an engine saw that was over a land dispute. He reported to the Gendarmerie brigades to ensure that he is protected, and lying that the victim was the one who aggressed him. Investigation opened by security elements saw him being the main aggressor. He has been arrested and kept behind bars at the Monatele Principal Prison. Also, we'll tell you how 18 states have so far been chosen to host the African Nations Cup. The loan that has been kept aside is the Bepanda Omnisport Stadium that will not be hosting any match of the African Nations Cup. We also bring to you reactions regarding the decision taken by Fika Foods to put aside PWD of Bamenda and Astro of Douala not to participate in the CAF Champions League and CAF Confederations Cup next season. Those are our top stories. Good evening. Once again, you're welcome to the 6 p.m. newscast on Equinoxe television. We begin with news in the central region of the country, notably in the Lekki division, to say a man called Vitalis Onana has killed his 42-year-old nephew over a land dispute. He killed him with an engine saw. He took to the farm where he met Brice Onana. They have been disputing over the land for a moment now. The alleged murderer reported to the Gendarmerie elements, who opened the investigation and discovered that he was the main aggressor. He has been kept behind bars at the Monatele Principal Prison. Details in this report compiled by Informe Armstrong Sander.
It all began as a simple family dispute from point zero, which ended up in the most tragic manner in a Lekki village in the Lekki division of the central region of Cameroon. Lucrece Obiangono, sister to the accused murderer, says her brother Vitalis Onana took an engine saw to his nephew's farm without due permission.
Donc c'était un calcul qui devait tuer notre neveu.
It was his plan to kill our nephew. He went to our nephew's farm with an engine saw and began to saw wood in his farm without permission. When he arrived and asked why, Vitaly said he will eliminate him and his friends as promised.
Éliminer tous les gens qui sont derrière toi.
That was when, according to her, he forced his engine saw into his nephew's stomach.
Le neveu lui supplie.
My nephew pleaded that he should not kill him, but he didn't listen.
Ne me tue pas.
Rushed to the Okola district hospital in a critically bleeding state, Brice Onana, 42, gave up the ghost from intense bleeding.
Au collège, faut 30 000 avec un donneur.
In the hospital, they said he needed blood from a donor and a sum of 30,000 francs. The situation became so critical, and I could not help but cried already. They took him into the surgery ward and back. 2 hours later, they told us that he is dead.
On nous appelle encore. On dit que Brice est mort.
Sensing the danger on his way, the accused murderer Vitalis Onana rushed and reported himself to security officials, claiming that he acted in self-defense. A claim refuted by the sister, who says Vitalis lied to security officials. She continued that the gendarmerie commander later came to the hospital and realized that Vitalis was actually the aggressor. With the collaboration of villagers, gendarmerie officials arrested Onana Vitalis and whisked him off to the Monateli Principal Prison. The bereaved family says they have information that the wife of the accused is manipulating to have her name established as the cause of Brice Onana's death on his death certificate.
C'est la hernie là qui l'a tué. Et je parle comme ça, même le procureur général de Yaoundé, même de Monatele, qui essaie de voir notre problème.
We now take you to Fumban in the west region of the country, where a landslide almost claimed the lives of an entire family. That was after heavy downpour. No one died as a result of the landslides that was recorded. Details with Charles Ekome.
Jimetese Sedu, a local in Fumban, hasn't forgotten the horrible scene which he witnessed some days ago at the Njitu neighborhood when torrential rainfalls provoked a landslide covering him and his 3 children while they were asleep. I was in the room when I heard a banging sound. When I turned around, I realized that ground had filled the entire house. It was the prompt intervention of neighbors who joined hands to save the girls, who were miraculously pulled out of the rubble. All my sisters fell on me when we were buried under the dirt. I struggled to move the ground, but I was unable. I woke up with a wound on my head. That's all I can remember.
Je criais seulement que mes enfants est morts.
I started screaming, "My children are dead," because I didn't believe they could come out of that situation alive. Following this incident, which could have caused the lives of another family, the council authorities led by the mayor of Fumban, Patricia Tomano Damjoya, descended to the scene to assess the situation, recalling that another landslide killed 3 people from the same family earlier that week.
Dimanche dernier, où malheureusement.
After the landslide, which decimated an entire family last Sunday, we have decided to do an evaluation of the neighborhoods in the town so we can identify the risk zones.
Autour des autres quartiers sinistrés de la ville de Fumban.
After comforting the affected families, Patricia Tomano Damjoya announced that measures will be taken to assist people living in risk zones.
Depuis l'année dernière, parce que ça ne commence pas cette année.
Ever since last year, the competent authorities and the council have been working hard to take care of the population, especially in regards to the water crisis, which is already a problem in Fumban.
De l'eau.
According to the Cameroonian Red Cross Services, the town of Fumban Council area is considered a risk zone.
Les zones à risque se multiplient. Et dans les
These risk zones are multiplying. Truth be told, there are 34 villages which make up the town of Fumban, and there are over 600 risk sites.
progrès, plus de 600 sites dites zones sinistrées.
According to the Red Cross Services, it is a sad reality which requires that the government finds ways of relocating occupants of villages living in risk zones.
Charles Ekume ending that report. Now we talk about the prominent African tech guru Rebecca Enonchong, who has finally regained her freedom today after spending 3 nights at the Douala Gendarmerie Legion. And in a tweet she writes, "I am free, all charges dropped, we can retire." That was according to a tweet she published on her Twitter handle immediately after her release today. And she also says, "So immensely grateful to all of you for believing in me and supporting me." It should be recalled that calls for the release of the tech guru Rebecca Enonchong from in and out of Cameroon intensified as she spent 30 nights at the Douala Gendarmerie Legion over accusations of contempt of court. Efforts by her lawyers, 8 in number, to see the magistrate or attorney general and secure her release yesterday were once again fruitless. Rebecca was taken to the Bonanjo Court of First Instance following a failed attempt to secure her release Wednesday, August 11. According to prominent rights activist Edith Kawala, giving updates on her situation, Rebecca and the lawyers waited the whole day before she was finally notified. They wanted to extend her detention for a third night on grounds that they have to hear witnesses. It is worth reminding that the influential tech entrepreneur was arrested and detained Tuesday, August 10 for contempt of court in a family case without any formal charges filed against her. Her arrest and detention, considered arbitrary, has sparked global criticism over alleged human rights abuses in Cameroon and calls for her immediate and unconditional release kept multiplying across the globe. And just to note that the final information reaching us is that she has regained her freedom, and she confirmed that on her Twitter handle. And in relation to that, one of the human rights defenders who was demanding the release of Rebecca Enonchong has been summoned to appear before investigators at the Judicial Police in Bonanjo. That will be on Monday, August 16. The Executive Director of Human Rights Defenders Network in Central Africa, Maximilian Gombe, is also one of the women who signed a petition asking the International Monetary Fund not to fund the Cameroon government. And it should be noticed that they have been accusing the government of Cameroon for mismanaging funds provided by the International Monetary Fund to fight the COVID-19 pandemic. The government of Cameroon demanding another 3-year funding met resistance from this group of women. On to this report now. Soursop, this fruit which was once neglected by a good number of the population, is now regarded as a miracle fruit by some consumers. Just like the town of Penja is known for white pepper, Manjo is equally famous for producing large quantities of soursops. Immaculate Fogwe reports.
This prickly fruit, known as soursop, has been enjoyed for years, but lots of people have little knowledge about its health benefits. Cultivators of this fruit in Manjo, Mungu division of the Lithura region, describe it as a miracle fruit, given its healing properties, reason why the number of persons involved in the business continue to rise. The fruit contains minerals such as calcium, magnesium and iron. Visiting one of the nurseries where the fruit is grown, we are told that it takes 4 to 6 years for the tree to develop and start bearing fruits.
Que les fruits du corosol, ça a beaucoup de vertus.
The soursop fruit can prevent the growth of cancer cells, treat back pain, gout and eczema. The leaves are equally good for the treatment of diabetes. It can equally boost the immune system. The tea made from the leaves is reported to have a soothing action, especially for insomnia and nervous disorders.
Quand tu consommes régulièrement le corosol, non, tu es à l'aise.
Those specialized in the sale of the fruit say the price ranges from 500 francs to 2,000 francs, depending on their sizes. According to them, many of their customers consume the fruit fresh or transform it into juices and smoothies. Despite the health benefits listed above, health experts warn against using the soursop fruit to treat cancer. According to them, it has not been tested on humans and there is no evidence of its safety or efficacy.
Before we talk sports, we have an excerpt of Rebecca Enonchong, who says that all charges levied against her have been dropped and is calling for all to retire the Free Rebecca hashtag. Take a listen to her in this excerpt.
think that if anybody thinks that this is the end, this is just the beginning. The truth always prevails.
Rebecca Enonchong there, speaking shortly after her release. And now we talk sports immediately to say Fuvu Football Club of Baham and Cotton Sport of Garwa will represent Cameroon at the CAF Champions League and CAF Confederations Cup. It should be noted, Cotton Sport of Garwa was eliminated at the semi-final of the 2021 Cameroon Cup final. Meantime, the finalists, PWD of Bamenda and Astro of Douala, will not be playing the CAF competitions next season, but they will have just the Cameroon Cup final to play. Samanjukan Gable reports.
Even though the Elite One Championship is still to produce its winners and Cameroon Cup finals between Astro Football Club and PWD of Bamenda, a date is yet to be set. Cameroon will not lack representative at the CAF Interclub competitions next season. This is so because after an emergency committee meeting, Fecafoot has chosen Fuvu Club of Baham, leaders of Pool A, and Cotton Sport of Gadwa, leaders of Pool B, at the still-to-added Elite One Championship to play in the CAF Interclub competitions. The decision taken by the emergency committee of Fecafoot has been condemned by some sport analysts.
It's really a sad situation. I don't know where our football is driving to. The season has not come to an end. We are still to have matches for Pool A and Pool B in the championship, but now they have already forwarded clubs because the season was not well organized.
Knowing that the winner of the Cameroon Cup is automatically qualified for the CAF Confederations Cup, many are questioning why the finals of the Cameroon Cup could not be played since the finalists are already known.
This final can be organized within a short while and for us to have a representative and meet up the deadline, but it's like it's a voluntary decision by the federation not to organize the cup finals so that we have a candidate. This time we have a finalist, two finalists, which are PW of Bamenda and Astro Football Club of Douala. They have played a long time ago. They should have played the final so that we know at least one team that has qualified for the confederations.
Another sports fans say the decision of Fecafoot is a coup to the two finalists, Astro Football Club and PWD of Bamenda.
It's really a coup against PWD of Bamenda and Astro. That this is something other clubs, they need to sit down and why not go on strike? Because I, for one, if I'm an official of PWD of Bamenda and Astro Douala, will not consider playing matches of the league because it's a shame to our football. I think we are taking Cameroon football from the forest to the ocean.
However, on the Fecafoot media release after the emergency committee meeting, it is stated that the winners of the Cameroon Cup for 2020-2021 sports season will play in the 2022-2023 CAF Confederations Cup, clearly showing that the winners of the 2021-2022 Cameroon Cup finals will also wait for one season before playing in any CAF organized competition.
Talking Point is up next. Good evening once again. You're welcome to Talking Points. Today we having a barrister, that is a barrister, Tamfo Richard. He is member of the Cameroon Bar Association. Good evening, barrister, and welcome.
Good evening, Mr. Azi. The pleasure is all mine being here.
You coming at the time when the prominent African tech guru Rebecca Enonchong has regained her freedom after spending 3 nights at the Douala Gendarmerie Legion. You've equally been following her case. Tell us more. How did it occur before her release?
Yes, first of all, we have to salute the wiseness of the Cameroon justice system, because all what is happening with the Rebecca case, when you look with a legal eye, you see that we have a criminal procedure code in Cameroon that makes provisions on such cases where, for example, someone is being prosecuted or is being investigated for an offense which is considered to be a misdemeanor, there's a provision from the code that if the person has a known abort, the person can be released, can be permitted to go home and then report the next day. So what is strange in Rebecca's case is because there was no formal summons. I hear that she received a phone call to report to one of the gendarmeries in town, and that's how she found herself there. After a brief interrogation with the person who called her, she was notified a police custody. So if that's the way people have to be arrested, simply you receive a phone call, no prior summons, no warrant of arrest, and you have to go through that scenario or a film before being detained is not proper. The criminal procedure code is very clear on how do you summon somebody if a crime has been committed or an offense has been committed. So we should instead push judicial officers to respect what the criminal procedure code prescribes, because all what justice is not being handled by personal interest where people sit in their offices and maybe because they are in powers they decide the way they want to go about with our justice system. No, we say that nobody should be above the law. The law should be applicable to everybody, whether poor or rich. The only thing is that we continue to advocate for that. The proper thing should be done. The rule of law should be respected. The rights of procedure should be observed. And where bail is available, there is no need keeping somebody in police custody when the person has a known place of abode. The code is very clear on it.
And reports are holding she was leveled the charge contempt of court because she told the Attorney General simply that she wants just one inspector to investigate charges against her, and that led to the decision taken by the Attorney General talking about contempt of court.
Yes, though I'm bound by professional secrecy, I cannot really go into the facts of the case because I'm not one of the lawyers. But if you just want me to give my own opinion or legal opinion on what contempt is all about, what the penal code says is contempt to either a civil servant or to an authority. If she maybe raised an opinion that she wants her cases to be joined and handled by a single judge, that cannot be considered as contempt. Is a wish that she solicits that for the sake of justice, if there are two parallel maybe investigations that have been opened, it is but normal that those cases can be joined if they have similar facts and maybe they concern the same persons. So that cannot be a legal base for contempt, except she had carried defamatory facts or statements on that magistrate or whosoever. Except she has done those defamatory facts or statements, that is where now maybe, if it is not proven, because even when you defame an authority, if you have the proofs, then they cannot hold you for contempt. It's only in the cases where, for example, you are not able to prove a defamatory statement that okay, you may fall victim of that offense. So I presume that if it is just because she aired the opinion that she wants her cases to be joined together, I don't see that there's any offense.
And then most Cameroonians therefore say, just like you, that it might not necessarily be the reason why she's been kept behind bars. They're saying it could be geared by her outing to stop the International Monetary Fund alongside other women from granting loans to the government of Cameroon because of poor management of this COVID-19 loans to fight the pandemic in the country. Do you see something related to that that led to her arrest?
Well, if her arrest has the political connotations, the persons who are complaining, or the authority, if it's the government authority who thinks that they have been infringed or maybe insulted or she did something wrong, I think the proper thing should be that a formal complaint should be deposited against her, and then she's properly notified of why they are accusing her, and if they have to arrest her or investigate her, then it is going to follow a due course. But we should all hide behind political maybe maneuvers to intimidate Cameroonians because they are because those authorities feel that they are in seat of powers. We are the one who mandated them, who give them the power. So they should not use their high offices to intimidate Cameroonians when they are expressing maybe a political view which is contrary to what is being preached. So I want to believe that if the government is trying to rely on maybe her political stand to like intimidate, that they are doing it to the wrong person, because the person I know, we all know how influential she is. Such persons should instead be encouraged to come back home and share all what she has been able to obtain. We know the image of Cameroon that she has propelled at the international level, and if we have to settle political scores in this way, then it's a shame to Cameroon and to the Cameroonian government. So such attitudes should not be encouraged, and we should look for other means to maybe settle political scores, not this one.
At this level, do you think she has the right to maybe take the case to another level for being jailed for 3 days?
Yes, she can file in for compensation, because there is a procedure, there is a commission at the Supreme Court where, if you consider that your detention was illegal and arbitrary, and that you suffered some damages, you are free to table your complaint before that commission, and it's going to be examined, and if possible, you'll be paid some compensation. She has been for 3 days. If no complaint, nothing was presented to her, then she might consider such an arrest or detention arbitrary, and if she had suffered some damages, she's free to complain.
We also have the executive director of REDAC, Maximilian Gombe, who has also been summoned by the judicial police in Bonanjo. Do you also see her in the same shoes like Rebecca Enonchong, noting that she was equally one of the women who signed demanding that funds should no longer be given to the government of Cameroon?
Well, I think I don't really know why Maximilian Mebengo is being summoned, but if it is because of the letter they wrote to request that funds should not be given to Cameroon, then it's a wrong step. What offense do you commit if you draw the attention of an international organization that you see that the funds that you are putting at disposal of the Cameroon government is being embezzled or is not being used as directed? I don't see where an offense is committed. So I think, to me, they are just like trying to intimidate people who are the people's voice.
Right.
We know that that's a prominent human rights lawyer, and we know how very vocal she has been.
Because she's been in Cameroon and nothing was said, so she was never summoned. But it's coming after Rebecca Enonchong was summoned at the Douala National Memory Legion. So all this gets towards this political agenda. Well, Barrister, I want to thank you so much for answering presence on Talking Point today.
Thank you. The pleasure is all mine.
And we will always have the pleasure to have you as well. Dear viewers, that's it for this edition of the 6 p.m. primetime newscast on Equinoxe television. Thanks so much for watching. Have a splendid evening and a nice weekend. For my and Barrister Tamfo Richard.